So I just did a video a couple days ago about how family and friends can at times downplay our emotions and our fears about basically the immigration situation that a lot of us mixed status families have to deal with. And not just mixed status family, but DACA, other undocumented situations, right? It's not just us. And I mentioned briefly how my family often tells me, because I live in a red state, that I don't really have much to worry about. It's not that bad. We're not Minneapolis, etc., etc. And I just want to point out that what this commenter said on one of my videos. She said, she lives also in a red state, the police forces are working with ICE, so anybody who gets pulled over without a license will be immediately detained and ICE will be called. I want to address that because it is actually one of my biggest fears on how it will happen. I don't really believe that ICE is going to come knocking on my door. I don't really think that they're around looking specifically for my husband. I don't want to be naive with that because you never know these days. At the same time, I have always felt that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen if my husband gets pulled over. Now, granted, I live in a red state, but I live in a blue city. So thankfully, our local city council actually just recently voted to not go into a 287 agreement with ICE, which would have allowed our city police to work with ICE and basically contact them if they suspect anybody is undocumented. That doesn't mean that we're protected, and it actually never guarantees really anything at all. Now, a 287 is an agreement or a contract that ICE has with certain police departments. Could be your highway patrol, could be your local sheriff's department, could be your city police. You can go to ice.gov and they will actually show a map of the whole United States and what police departments they're working with. Now, even though these cities are fighting back and voting against stuff like this, Trump is fighting back in his administration by basically threatening police departments and threatening cities, sanctuary cities, I guess you could say, with removal of federal funding if they do not go into these agreements. So they're really trying to back police departments and cities into corners. And in some situations, I'm sure it's working. Now, just because my city doesn't work with ICE or chose not to work with ICE doesn't mean other parts of my state doesn't. For instance, there is one county that's literally a few miles from where I live. They do work with ICE. So when friends and family say there's nothing to worry about, it does go beyond ICE themselves. It's not just the fact that ICE is in some big city in that state somewhere, they're not going to come to where you're at. It is not just that fear. The fear is so much greater than that because it can happen locally with something as simple as getting pulled over for having a headlight out. I also recommend, if you are going to travel because of this situation, if you aren't aware of ICE Out or the People Over Papers map that basically shows reports from across the country of people that have spotted ICE, use it. Use it. And I'll put the link right there. Check it out if you're not aware of it, because I check it every single day. I check it at 10 o'clock every day. I actually was planning on making a video about it, and I will say typically, I'm going to say as quickly as I can, typically weekdays, super lot of reports, tons of them. Usually it's 120, 130 reports throughout the country. The weekends, for instance, this past Sunday, 12 reports for that whole day. Now, granted, less people probably travel on the weekends and the weekdays because they're not as working as much. Also, I'm just guessing ICE is probably just off. They're just off more because who wants to work on the weekends? Even them probably want a day off, right? So if you're going to travel, statistically, it's probably a little safer to travel on the weekends based off the reports. Again, no guarantees. Just keep that in mind. Be safe. Be smart, follow the laws the best you can. Make sure all your headlights are working. Make sure your blinkers are working. Make sure your car is in perfect working order so they do not have an excuse to pull you over and you end up in a situation like that. Just be safe.